following is a video presentation of an evening worship service at Orrville Baptist Church.
this evening, we started off our morning service reading out of 1 Corinthians chapter 2, and I'd like to continue on and read a little bit from that same chapter tonight to start off our worship service. 1 Corinthians chapter 2, verse 10. For to us God revealed them through the Spirit. For the Spirit searches all things, even the depths of God. For who among men knows the thoughts of a man except the spirit of the man which is in him? Even so, the thoughts of God no one knows except the Spirit of God. Now we have received not the spirit of the world, but the Spirit who is from God, so that we may know the things freely given to us by God, which things we also speak, not in words taught by human wisdom, but in those taught by the Spirit, combining spiritual thoughts with spiritual words. But the natural man does not accept the things of the Spirit of God, for they are foolishness to him, as he cannot understand them, because they are spiritually appraised. But he who is spiritual appraises all things, yet he himself is appraised by no one. For who has known the mind of the Lord, that he will instruct him? But we have the mind of Christ. Again, a tremendous honor for us to gather together as the body of Christ. I'm going to go through announcements. On the back of your bulletin, you'll find those. The first two things I want to repeat from this morning: continue to pray for all those affected by the weather, the hurricane in Texas. Pray that the church will be ready to also help in any kind of efforts that may be needed because of this bad weather. And then also in the vestibule, we have the nominations, we have all the officers, all the teachers located back there. Staple sheets together. Please take one of those home if you don't have one already, and pour over those and look over those and be prepared next Sunday as we vote on the church to confirm that. And we look forward to this next church year. We pray for our church as we enter into a new church year coming up soon. Give you opportunities to serve and to gather this week. Tuesday, just want to remind you, 4:30 we meet in Hayes. So incredible to partner with Concord Baptist, who wants to help out and feed the homeless and the hungry and the needy in our area. This will be every Tuesday. And I've said it a lot, and I want to continue to reiterate that if you would like to serve, of course, you can come serve. You can pass out food, you can pour drinks, those kind of things. Those are all available. The big need, the really big need is for members of our church to come and to introduce themselves. I know that it sounds silly, but really, that's what we really want to do on Tuesdays at 4:30, or build relationships and make friendships. And through that, we want to disciple people. We want to open up doors as we meet people in our community and meet our neighbors. We want to talk to them. We want to lead into gospel conversations. We want to talk about our King. We want to be excited about talking about Jesus. So please consider joining us every Tuesday at 4:30 if you're able. If you can't be there right at 4:30, please know that you can be any time. We're usually there. It kind of goes up and down, but I mean 6:30 is when the very last we tend to cut it off. I'd say that sounds about right, Tommy. And if you can come at 5:30, you can come at 6. That's not going to hurt anybody. We'll be happy to see you. So be considering that. And then I'll also remind you, Wednesday, as we meet in that same building in Hayes. We have our service at 6:30. We are on week, is it week 4? It is. No, week 5. Looking at spiritual gifts. And here's the thing, we're going through spiritual gifts, but we do a recap. So if you're hearing this and you're saying, I'd like to come to this, but I'm already behind, please join us. It has been so fruitful, really, the past month for us, the body, all those Wednesday night services. And I really think that this study and what we're talking about is something that we're going to be using long term. I think it's going to be very important for the future of our church. So I'll encourage you to join us on Wednesdays as we go through the spiritual gifts. We got a lot of material left to cover, and then we'll do a real big recap towards the very end of it. So if you won't miss out by coming late, you're encouraged to do that. The good news, you can see down at the bottom of your bulletin, we have our weekly budget now, on the bottom of the back of our bulletin, listed every single Sunday. And last Sunday we did meet that and above, so that's wonderful news. And also continue praying about 2 ways you might want to consider giving. One is for the organ. I know Sam is brilliant listening to you. It sounds good. There's some repairs that need to be done to the organ. So if you'd like to contribute to that, any money that you want, organ repair, whatever you want to call it or word it, we'll know what that is, and it will go towards that. And then also in the back of your bulletin, Jamie Chapman State Mission offering. So far, this morning's have not been total into this, but so far we have $322.63. Another way you can think about giving and supporting something that we need to be very passionate about, and that is giving to missions, supporting missions, and trying to be a part of missions. Because it is commanded by God. It's something that we see as a command. It's something that's not an option. It's something that we take part in. So be praying for those opportunities throughout the week. So I have really enjoyed our past really month. It's kind of how it seemed like it's been the past month of Sunday evening services. I don't really know how this happens. It's not really like I planned a series or anything like that at all. I don't know how to say this. I'm not making this about me by any means, or things that I've been going through or learning or anything like that. It's just that as of late, I've been picking up through these quicker Old Testament wisdom texts. We've kind of stuck in them in a good way. The past 3 have been that way. There's one more tonight. I'm just kind of being so refreshed by this, and I'll be honest that I didn't plan on talking about this, but I love theology. You can't, I'll be honest, you can't even be a Christian without understanding some type of theology. The moment you say Jesus is, you're doing theology. People think that it's some extra science out there, but no, the moment that you mention Jesus' name and you say is, you are entering in the realm of theology. And I love going deeper, and I love thinking about all these different types of theologies and looking at all the different aspects of it. And there's times where I just need to get back and I need to be refreshed by going to the Lord and asking for wisdom and seeking His wisdom and His Word. And I've been so refreshed, especially the past 2 weeks. And so I'm just craving that. And I feel it. I feel something special in these messages, and I don't want to make it about feelings either. It's just there's something sweet on our Sunday evenings as of late. And it sounds simplistic. You say you just go a quick little Old Testament wisdom text. That's not what I mean. It's nothing simplistic. It's the depths of God and His Word. But there's so much practicality to it. There's so much in it that we see and it punches in the heart. And then we reflect on it, and it transforms and continues to change the way we do things, the way we talk, the way we think about God. And so I don't want to make it sound like this is not found in the New Testament. It certainly is. There's nugget after nugget of God's wisdom dripping off each page, but there's a genre itself dedicated to wisdom in the Old Testament. And there's countless texts that would be considered wisdom texts. And I'm in this mode where God's doing something special with us here at Orrville. And so let's continue that momentum. I find it really helpful as I read these texts, even in my own private times. I find it very helpful to keep James 1:5 in the back of our minds, and to even really to start our study thinking about James 1:5. And if any of you lacks wisdom, let him ask of God, who gives to all generously and without reproach, and it will be given to him. So to take that truth, that biblical truth, as found in His Word, it just brightens our soul to know that that's true. It just nourishes our soul, nourishes our minds, and we're not searching for some kind of hidden knowledge like the Gnostics. Not some kind of hidden knowledge or some deeper meaning. That's not the case. We're simply asking God to provide this transformational word to us to bring about change, to conform us more to the image of His Son. And I want us to look once more at another psalm and reflect on it and pray through it, and then seek this change in us through God's Word and through God's power. Psalm 37:4 is the text we're going to be in tonight. It's been a reassuring psalm for people throughout the course of history. I mean, you hear it a lot. We say it to each other a great deal. I'm incredibly thankful and grateful. But we should also take a moment to really look at what's being said here. Psalm 37:4 says the following. I'll give you one moment as you turn it. Psalm 37:4, God's Word says the following: delight yourself in the Lord, and He will give you the desires of what? Your heart. I've heard many false teachers use this. And we did a study on really false teachers in the past on Wednesday nights, and my goodness, that's a scary text to use if you're going to twist it and use it in the wrong way. We're very familiar with this verse. It makes us happy but it should also make us ask questions. Psalm 37:4 should make us ask something. Regarding what? Regarding our heart. The question being, what is the desire of my heart? What is the desire of my heart? Because the Bible talks about the heart a great deal throughout Old and New Testaments. There's a lot of information on the human heart. And from what I read about the heart in Scripture, it's usually bad. It's usually a very, very bad thing. Consider the following verses. Jeremiah 17:9, it says what? Hearts are wicked. They are desperately sick. It even asks the question, who can understand it? Who can figure this thing out? It's a conundrum. We speak about love, we talk about all these good things, and we practice hate. We say positive things, we want to be a positive change in the world with our words, and in our heart shows wickedness. Mark 7. Jesus is preaching to a crowd, and he talks to them in a moment about the human heart. Here's what he says in verses 20 through 23. You can listen to the Word of God. He was saying, that which proceeds out of the man, that is what defiles the man. Remember there was a big talk on cleanliness and uncleanliness? Verse 21, from within, out of the heart of men, proceed evil thoughts, fornications, thefts, murders, adulteries, deeds of coveting, wickedness, as well as deceit, sensuality, envy, slander, pride, foolishness. All these evil things proceed from within and defile the man. Did you hear that list? It's never ending. Evil thoughts, fornication, theft, murder, adultery, covetousness. That's not hard to say. Wickedness, deceit, sensuality, envy, slander, pride, foolishness, evil. That's a ton. And it all derives and comes from what? What's the origin of all these things? The human heart. The human heart. And so that question still remains, what are the desires of our hearts? What is it that our hearts truly desire? Without supernatural transformation, without the Spirit, without being born again, as Jesus says in John 3, our desires are things of the flesh. The human heart desires things of the world, things to satisfy our own flesh. It's scary. We are consumed by our own desires, pre-conversion. And so we think about it. How can we satisfy ourselves today? The world today, if you ask most people, are people born good or are they born bad? The world would say, oh, they're born good. You have to be learned or taught bad behavior. You have to learn negative actions. You have to be taught those things. You have to be taught how to be bad, how to be wicked, how to do harmful stuff. And I don't lie to you, that's aggravating to me, because we all know better. Christians know better, atheists know better, people in between know better. But we sleep better at night telling ourselves, naturally humans are good people. And we're not. Turn on the news. Any day, any hour, and tell me that people are naturally good. I've used this illustration before. Newborn babies. I'm not saying that babies are full of sin. That's not what we're talking about here. I'm talking simply the natural human heart. Think of a little baby. Old enough to see and perceive things. And ladies, I don't wear a whole lot of fancy jewelry. But y'all wear necklaces, nice shiny necklaces. And you get a baby and you're like, what's that baby do? Pulling your neck down. Because it wants it. And what happens when you say no? No. Pitches a fit. And in that moment of rage, I promise you, if that baby was able, it would claw your eyes out. It would. It would. And it sounds funny, but it's true. We choke you out to get that necklace. It's just the way we are in a world full of sin. We're just broken. We're born broken. We're selfish. And it's sad. The world, the unbelieving world outside of the church will say you can still do good things, and you can be a nice person, being kind, you can be a giver. Those are all good, those are all noble. The scriptures say that apart from God, all those good deeds are nothing but rags. It's just emptiness. People understand there's a need to do good. They'll never be able to tell you why without God. They'll never. If we're all one big natural accident, the best thing we should do for ourselves is be selfish. You ever thought about that? If we're all one big accident, if there's no purpose in life, if there is no God, what is the point of being nice to one another? I look out in nature and I see animals kill each other to survive. Apart from God, what's keeping us from doing it? Some idea of morals? The world knows what morals are, they just don't know why they have them. We're to be the people to tell them why. Because it's been written on your heart. Because you know something's wrong, and yet we do it anyways. It's crazy to think about the human heart in its natural state. It needs more than a repair, it needs to be replaced completely. A complete overhaul. Ezekiel 11 speaks of a heart of stone being replaced with a heart of flesh in Israel. There has to be an entirely new heart. It's true for all people. Every human being alive needs a new heart. There needs to be a transformation. We've been talking about Saul in Acts on Sunday morning. This is the first week in 4 weeks we haven't brought up Saul and his conversion. And you see this new person come out of this. A brand new creation after experiencing the risen Lord. There's a baptism of the Spirit. There's being born again. There's being filled with the Spirit. It's something that God can only do. Only He can do this. The natural man in his left alone state will never be born again apart from God. Apart from the work of Christ. Apart from the calling of the Spirit. It's a Trinitarian work. It's an overwhelming work. It's a beautiful work. It's Spirit-led and Spirit-made. And so Psalm 37:4 has this cause and effect in it. We typically don't think much of it. There is a cause and effect there. What does it say? Delight yourself in the Lord, pause, and then He will give you the desires of your heart. So of course, we need to be reborn, we need to be transformed by God. We have to be given this new heart. We have to be given a heart that doesn't seek after our own lusts, but one that is seeking to be used by God. One that finds a joy in who God is. And so there's our key. We are to delight in who God is. That's the key to understanding the desires of our heart. We're to find joy in Him. There should not be a burden in following Christ. He even said so in His Word. There is no heavy burden in following Christ, but there should be freedom. There should be joy. There should be peace in following Christ. There's this sweetness to life in following after Him. That despite no matter what goes on in the world, whether you face trials or times of blessing, whether you face times of persecution or times of peace, whatever the case may be, there is always joy in this new heart. There's a joy to be found in who God is and delighting in who God is. Isaiah 58 contains a text about Sabbath keeping in Israel. Verse 13 and a portion of 14 says, listen to this. This is on Sabbath keeping. If because of the Sabbath you turn your foot from doing your own pleasure on my holy day, and call the Sabbath a delight, the holy day of the Lord honorable, and honor it, desisting from your own ways, from seeking your own pleasure, and speaking your own word, then, did you catch all that? You heard all that so far? All that stuff. Doing your own pleasure on my holy day. Desisting from your own ways. If you keep from seeking your own pleasure, if you keep from speaking your own word, and then verse 14 starts off like this, then, all that, then you will take delight in the Lord. It sounds like a bunch of rules and a bunch of regulations, and we are in the new covenant. We're in this covenant of grace. We're not bound to the law. We are followers of Christ who has fulfilled the law. He is our fulfillment. But we need to look at the big meaning of that text and apply it to our own hearts and our own lives. Keep from doing your own pleasure, desisting from your own ways, not seeking your own pleasure, not speaking your own word. All those things are part of the Sabbath, and listen to verse 14 once again. Then you will delight in the Lord. Those things happen, and then you will take delight in who He is. Taking delight in the Lord isn't about keeping a set of rules. It is not about keeping a set of regulations. We do have commands. We know that. We are commanded to go to the world, make disciples. We're to be obedient. But the overarching theme is not just keeping rules and regulations. If you hear just rules and just regulations, something's off. The key thing here is humility before God. Acknowledging that His ways are best. Knowing that His ways are pure. Knowing that His ways are good. You were made to enjoy God. In the creation of Adam and Eve, what makes that so heartbreaking, number one, of course, sin breaking into the world, affecting all creatures, all creations, all people, heartbreaking in itself. But I want you to understand and think back to the fall, and think back before the fall happens. There's this beautiful relationship of Adam and Eve walking hand in hand with God. It's perfect. Couldn't ask for anything more. And they had a purpose. They had a purpose. Their purpose was to worship God. They were to worship God. Even in their work, which is a root form of worship, in that language, even in their worship, they were to enjoy everything with God. They were designed to enjoy being with Him. They were to enjoy His presence. You were made to worship and delight in it. Every single one of you. There's no better enjoyment than this mindset of John 3:30. Everyone knows it. He must become greater, I must become less. He must increase, but I must decrease. Coming before God and saying, this is all for you, make less of it of me. Do that, Lord, so I can find delight in who you are. Because if it's just about me, I'll cling to my flesh. Break my heart. That I might position myself before you, hands and face on the ground, in admiration and in honor of who you are. You see a delight happening in our own hearts when we fall before Him. People say, that sounds like submission, and I say, yes, it does, because it is. Oh, this heavy, heavy burden we talk about as Christians. Look how light it is to surrender everything and let Him work through us. It's no burden at all. It's no burden at all. It's the exact opposite. Ultimately, the key to getting the desires of our hearts is to find ourselves delighting in who He is. When we do that, His desires become our desires. Isn't that a beautiful thing? That's an outstanding thing. That's our key to understanding all of this. When we're given this new heart, what happens to our desires? They change. Or at least they should. Our desires should change greatly. When we become Christians, when we become followers of Christ, they're also transformed along with us. Where we once saw evil, we saw wickedness, we saw things in the flesh, they've now been transformed. God has transformed those desires to match His own. What are the things that God is desiring? And yes, He does desire. He desires His children live in harmony. He desires that there be peace. There be love extended to one another. That mercy be granted to one another as He's extended mercy to us. He desires that men and women be saved. There's a question of, do we desire the things of the earth, or do we desire the things of heaven, the spiritual things? Which one is planted in our hearts? Is it the things of this world, the things of this flesh, the things of this earth, or is it the things of God? Is it the things of heaven? The things that last, that cannot rot and rust and decay? Which one is it? We've already gone over this first step to understanding and obtaining the desires of our hearts. Our newly given hearts, I should say. And that first step being delighting in God, delighting in the Lord and who He is. And the Word of God says, delight yourself in the Lord. We're to nourish ourselves, to feed on enjoying Him. We want to have the desires of our hearts, the desires of God. We must first take wonderful delights in His goodness. To look upon Him and say, how great you are, God. How much I desire. There's a times when we feel like there's one of my favorite books called When I Don't Desire God. One of my all-time favorites. When I Don't Desire God. And even in that fragile body and mind and heart filled with flaws, there's still this spiritual working happening because of what God is doing in us to refresh us in our desire for Him. There are seasons when we go through that we constantly say, I'm not so sure what I desire right now. What a beautiful thing for His faithfulness to us. Secondly, look at verse 5. Because the next two verses here are usually ignored. And they come into play greatly. The first part of verse 5, commit your way to the Lord. That's a personal command. That's an imperative. That says do. That's a do verb. Do this. It's something we must do. What does our commitment look like? Is it visible? Is it tangible? Can you see it? Or is it just talk? The number one complaint among singles in the world. You can probably guess this too. Those who have not married and they're dating, they go on dates, they meet people, and blah, 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 all that good stuff. You know what the number one complaint among singles are about other people? That big C word, commitment. You can't find anybody in 2017 that's committed. You might call every once in a while, but there's no true commitment happening in that fuddy-duddy thing we call dating. It's on again, it's off again, it's nothing real, it's just pettiness. It's just petty. I asked the question, think about that for a moment, and I'll ask you this. How do you think God feels? Because we're talking about something silly as dating. Think about being in this covenant relationship with God and ask, how does He feel about commitment? That's humbling to me. True commitment is sticking with something. It's never being tossed to and fro by the waves, but it is being firmly planted in something. This is the covenant that we have with God. This new covenant of grace, and the bride constantly violates it. The bride is constantly proving to be an adulterer. How does God feel about commitment? I assure you, He is very serious about it. Quite serious about a covenant relationship with His people. One of the most overlooked and really one of the most important part of the marriage ceremony and the vows is when the bride and groom are staring at each other. Sometimes they're holding hands and facing one another. The priest is right here and he's going through these things. Say this, say this, say this. And then you get to a part. In sickness and health, till death do us part. Meaning that in all things. And there's usually some other things mentioned that coincide with that. But the whole meaning of those vows is looking at your spouse and saying, whether it's good, whether it's bad, whether I'm sick, whether you're sick, whether my health is great, whether your health is great, whether we got no money or lots of money, no matter what, I'm with you. And I'm committed to you. Until this body decays. That's how committed I am to you. That's what happens in a marriage ceremony in this new covenant, and yet we have a similar covenant before God and with God. Where we say, I'll never leave, I'll never forsake. You know what God's saying? I'll never leave and never forsake. And only one side keeps that promise. It's God. His people we're so rebellious. Beautiful hymn we sing contains the word, prone to wander. Wander, I should say. Lord, I think. Prone to leave. God, I love it. Even in this new heart, this new mind, this new transformed body, we're broken people. We want our desires to be more than just this kind of on and off again relationship, covenant with God. We want to be purely committed and to look at His faithfulness to us and just have so much life, have so much joy. Our covenant relationship with God should reflect marriage in that sense. Being truly faithful to one another. And thank goodness He's faithful. Aren't you glad He's faithful? The second portion of verse 3 says the following. trust also in Him, He will do it. Talking about providing the desires of your heart. Trust in Him, and He will do it. So here's the 3 keys to obtain the desires of your heart. You trust in Him, you commit to Him, and you delight in Him. That's our recipe. That's our recipe. How can we see Christ at work in us if we don't trust? That's huge. Something we don't think of very often. How can we see this mobile, active army called the church if we don't trust in Him? It is paradoxical. It is on 2 complete ends of the spectrum to call ourselves Christians and not show trust in His plans and His goodness. That makes no sense. The 2 go hand in hand naturally. Do you trust Him with your very life? Well, I don't mean just life and death. I mean every portion of life. Do you trust Him? And His leadership and His guidance and the Spirit and what the Spirit's laying on your heart and leading you towards. Your everyday today, do you trust Him? Every moment. If so, if we trust in Him, we will see fruit. We will see fruit. We will see Christ at work in us as we delight in Him. We'll see people's lives being transformed. We'll see the gospel take root and be spread. The big question, once again, what are the desires of our hearts? Are they the things of earth or are they the things of heaven? It's important for us to ask this question and to reflect on it. I want to share this with you, and we're closing. This breaks me apart so much. Thinking about the desires of our hearts and the things that we find delight in. We can put all kinds of different titles and things that are desires of our hearts, and we can go through the list of what God desires. Those are, of course, things that we need to be thinking about. Ultimately, however, this is what I want you to understand. The desire of your heart, if you're a Christian, if you're a Christ follower, is God Himself. He is the desire of our hearts. He is. Period. Period. And there's no ifs or ands or buts or in-betweens. If we call ourselves Christians, and if we are truly Christian, He is our desire. And I guarantee you, if you follow that pattern, commit to Him, and trust in Him, and find this incredible delight in who He is, which is very difficult some days. I understand that. To follow that pattern means you'll find that He is the very desire of your heart. It's kind of like going through all these hoops and trying to say, well, what is the desire? And then you get to the end and you say, oh, God, who said that? You've been here all along in your faithfulness. You're what my heart longs after. You're the one, God, who's brought me through. You're the one who's purchased me, redeemed me, called me, been there for me, brought me to this moment in life where I should be dead already. It's all for you, for what you've done. You are the joy and delight of my heart. Ultimately, that is what you find. And in that, brothers and sisters, I tell you, you could ask for nothing more. So is it going to be an Adam and Eve situation where we don't need anything else and yet we still tell Him no, He's not good enough? Or do we go to Him boldly and say, You're all I need? My flesh needs nothing else. I need you. You are my sustenance. You are my nourishment. You're the longing in my heart. You're the void. You're the maker. You're the God who molds my heart. It's you, and it's been you all along. Is that the people that we're going to be? Reflect on Calvary daily. Reflect on the depths of His love daily. I give this advice, I guess, to call. I don't really know what to say. I've said it many times, and I'll never stop. There are days. In fact, there's actually seasons, I would say. There's maybe even months. Something comes over us, and we say, God, I know You're there, but I'm just not sure I have much to be thankful for. A lot of people say that's why I don't pray. I don't know what to pray about. I got really nothing to say. I don't really have much to go to God for. oxygen, life. Above all else, salvation. How can we dare say the words, I'm not sure I have much to be thankful for, knowing that God put on flesh and went to a cross for us? And we're called to go to our own cross every single day to make less of us and make more of Him so that we can find this great joy in who He is. What a wonderful. There's so much to be thankful for. How can we not be delighted? As Christians with joy and promised joy and eternal hope in our King, I assure you and I promise you and I guarantee you, you have much to be thankful for. You have much to delight in. And you have a God who loves, and I mean this, loves being the desire of your life.